Welcome back, Mr. Bagga.
Thank you.
And you've had a fantastic introduction of him. It's said about the markets, they never sleep. It can be said about Mr. Bagga also, he does not sleep. I mean, I get an impression that you hardly sleep. How do you manage that? I mean, always, if there is the US Fed having a press conference, which is their time, day, our time, night, but you are live tweeting that this is what is happening. And of course, when things are happening here and then things are happening in Japan and you are again at it, deciphering, interpreting for us. Tell us how you really always be on top of the game.
Yeah, just like money, even knowledge compounds. So I have one rule, I don't read the same article in another publication. So suppose today Fed has happened, I'll read up once, and then I read about 8 financial papers every day, apart from the wires and everything. So the ability now to process has increased manifold. So knowledge also compounds, it's cumulative, and it's helping to speed read and be able to then assimilate and see the essence. I try to take out my interpretation and offer that, and it's becoming quite viral. In fact, all your videos with me go about 3-4 million I've seen.
Yes.
Quite easily. And people, you would not think people abroad would be tracking us so much, but even in Hindi videos with you, I'll get messages from Canada or US that we learn more about US from you than we learn from the local media.
I can believe that. Youngsters, you have to listen to this with a little bit of intent. What he's saying is that he reads a lot. As students, as youngsters early in your career, you have to understand there is no escaping reading, studying, and digesting that information. You have to take in a lot of information and process it at every stage of career, more so when you are young. Mr. Bagga, the first time I heard the word coffee can investing was from you. I mean, I did not know I was that kind of investor because I invested 25,000 rupees in a Tata mutual fund about 25 years back. It's about 3 lakh rupees now. Yeah. I did not even bother to see it, But then I heard about what is coffee can investing from you. Just for these kids, if you can just, before we get into the markets and Indian economy and this, that, just please explain to them what's coffee can investing. I was really impressed, though I was practicing it myself, but they should know.
Yeah, so, there was this advisor called Kirby in the US, and he had a lady who he used to have as a client. He would tell her when to buy, when to sell. And then the lady's husband, a very senior lawyer, he passed away. And she found in his safe a bunch of stocks. So this is pre-Demat, 1960s. She went to Kirby and said, can you look at my husband's portfolio? Husband was not Kirby's client. The lady was. And he sat on a weekend, he saw the husband, and he saw that the husband would buy whatever he was telling her to buy. But he was putting $5,000 into every company. The difference was Kirby was telling the lady to sell. Husband was not selling. So few of those $5,000 went to zero. Few became 1,000, 2,000. Few went up to 50,000. One stock out of that lot went up to $800,000, 160 times. What was that stock? It was Haloid, which became Xerox ultimately. Right. So what he said was that the way in the olden times, the coffee can means like our mothers would have some money stored away somewhere, maybe in the kitchen, under the rice. So fill it, shut it, forget it. This person never sold. He didn't try to time the market. He was just taking Kirby's suggestions on buying and just leaving it. And he ended up more than the actively managed portfolio. Right. So that is coffee can.
That's, I think, a great takeaway, should be great takeaway for the youngsters. Now let's get back to our conversation, on the economy and the markets, the way they are doing. It can of course get better, it would get better. But at this moment, it could not be better than this. If you look at the macros, inflation is down, unemployment down, current account deficit down, exports up, imports down. What's really kicking for Indian economy?
See, I think we were very fortunate hearing Deepak Bagla. He gave an excellent exposition of what India is going through. I'll give some more numbers. Just bear with me. Difficult in the afternoon session. But if you understand this much, you will understand what's happening in the cycle. And I talk very long cycles. So we are at $4 trillion right now. Where was US when it hit $4 trillion? US hit that in 1985. So you can say we are 40 years behind the US. Japan hit it in 1993. So that is the 32 years of lost growth Japan has had because it's still at 4. That is a caution. China hit it, what Deepak Bagla mentioned, 2008-9. China hit 4 trillion in 2007. And then it took off like a rocket. Today, China is at 19. So in about 18 years, China has grown 4 times. Even if we don't do that, we don't grow 4 times. But 2047, very good chance that we are 18 to 19 trillion, what China is today. 22 years also you take. What does that mean? Your 4 trillion economy is $5 trillion market. So if the economy grows at 10%, your market is growing at 14, 15%. Your 5 trillion market by that time would have become a 25 trillion market. So if you do nothing else, just go and buy an ETF on the Indian market and every month put 5,000, 10,000, whatever you can afford. But just keep investing. Come 2047, you will be worth, that money will be worth 5 times, 6 times, 10 times. I have seen mutual funds that we launched, 10 rupee fund going to 1,000 rupees. Wow. Today there are funds like that I have sold in 93, 92, 95, which have gone 100 times. We were very fortunate. Some of my answers got put because this Morning Star I had used this. But 1979, Sensex at 100. 2006, Sensex was 10,000. We were so fortunate that the Indian market itself went up 100 times. So if you were just invested in the market and you stayed invested, you could have made 100 times your money. There are stocks where I made 2,000, 3,000 times. Just now one company got listed, I will not take its name. It supplies these maids and beauty specialists and plumbers, electricians.
Would you know the name? Everyone knows the name.
I'm not taking any name because I'm not allowed to give. The private equity funds investing in that company made 28 times money. 28 times. वो 2 बारी बना लेते हैं, 3 बारी बना लेते हैं. They make 3 times money. They are very happy. 28 times money. Imagine. Where do you get this kind of return? So bhule bhatke, they are all going to come to us. Don't believe the glass half empty. Look at the glass half full. There is so much going for us. And biggest is what is in this room. Our biggest advantage is all of you. Average age of India today, 29 years. Average age of China, 43 years. Most of Europe at 45. Average age of Japan, 53. Average age of US, 41. Only Africa and some parts of Middle East are younger than us. Most of the world is older than us. We have a chance for the next 20, 30 years till we also become older. We have a chance for the next 20, 30 years. We are going from 4 trillion to a 20 trillion economy. What we keep saying, Viksit Bharat, there's a lot of work happening. So if you keep focusing on the positives and seeing this compounding story. Last time I was on this stage, Abhishek, last year, I said India itself is an asset class. So being Indians, don't lose that opportunity. I'm very happy when foreigners take out money because who's buying? Indians. This year what has happened? Indians have bought $53 billion. Foreigners have sold $16 billion. Net outflow from India. Indians have put in 50 billion. It's very good because I started when the first foreigner came, I remember we would present to them, we had to show India on the map. We had to tell them who's Tata, who's Birla, we make this. They would say, I want to put in 200 million. I would say, my market is not of this scale. I can give you these 10 million, 20 million, come back again. By 2000, there was a rage for India. By 2005-06, they were putting in those 200 millions. Then the GFC came, 2008 came, we lost a lot of money, everybody around the world lost. By 2013, they were back. And now they are putting billions and not really being bothered. $900 billion is invested in this market by foreigners. So if you see that 15, 16 billion, it's good headline. Foreigners exiting India. वो 900 तो पड़ा है ना. 1% they are taking out in a year. What big deal? Everybody has a different objective. Some met a profit objective. Some made losses elsewhere. Some had some other use for that money. 1%, 2% par for the course. But 95% is staying put and making a lot of money.
Yeah, tremendous unlocking of value, as one would say in market terms. Now, a rush of questions in my mind, and I always keep my audience in mind. So, you mentioned, in fact, I listened there also, and just now also you mentioned that you were fortunate to be starting in 1990. In a way, for business, those were the most difficult times because of the license permit, Raj, the overhang, and the wobbliness of the reforms, stalling reforms. Now, it's very different. The energy, the exuberance, the confidence, the can-do spirit that you see in the youngsters, in the entrepreneurs. Again, your message to the youngsters, how to ride this wave and participate in this wave?
I think the big difference, Abhishek, we didn't have an idea of how good we were. Now, with the kind of information that you have available by just one Google, and now Google is also outdated, ChatGPT or Claude or somebody, Grok. And you don't even need to type, you can set them up to ask a question and they will bring all the answers. All the teachers and the doctors are hating it because being hypochondriacs, we imagine every illness we have, go to the doctor and say, these are my symptoms. Yeah. ChatGPT is saying I have this, or tell the teacher, and students are writing their papers through that. But
and ChatGPT is doing a better job, by the way, of finding ailments.
Yes.
We have seen examples.
We have seen examples. So I think the big opportunity now is the digital revolution. The way everything, after demonetization, financialization happened. So the black economy, which used to be 50% of the economy, has really shrunk now to 15, maybe less than 15. It's very difficult to operate in a black economy kind of thing. So financialization happened. Along with that, formalization happened. So not only you had revenues coming on the books, you had those revenues being invested. So formalization, financialization. Third, digitalization. Add to that, we didn't make the mistakes most countries made during COVID. We did not overspend. Yeah. The government and RBI did very targeted spending. So we didn't see an inflation, which was a raging inferno. Plus, we didn't run up that higher deficit. We have a stability financially. You have had political stability for 11 years and foreseeable future. All that you add, it becomes a very potent combination. Add to that the demographics, a young population. 35 million Indians are abroad who send home, 35 million Indians are abroad who send home every year $130 billion, 139 last year. That kind of cohort, no other country. I mean, European countries have 5 million population. We have 35 million NRIs.
Yeah.
And we can export out 20 million tomorrow. We have those technically qualified people. We have a lot going.
Yeah, a lot going, actually. But still, I would say there are some red flags. essentially in the geopolitical domain. So be it Russia, be it the Europe war, be it the tweets from President Trump, that itself is now a marker. Every morning, evening, the diplomats are looking at Truth Social to see where the wind is blowing. The US economy, because the Fed came out, it was a little counterintuitive that, was it counterintuitive that while the inflation is going, the Fed cut rates, maybe because under pressure from Trump. American economy seems to be on AI steroids. Otherwise, the numbers are not looking good. Production numbers are not looking good. Consumption numbers are not looking good. Inflation numbers are not looking good. And yet, maybe because of the AI steroid, it seems to be booming, like avoiding a stall. Do you see a situation where America stalls and then there could be dominoes on the rest of the world?
See, America is the biggest economy, so a slowdown in America has an impact everywhere. So it won't be easy for us to keep growing this fast if America stalls. We have seen that in 2000, we have seen that in 2008. Before that, 97, 94, 87. So all those examples are there. What will happen, I think right now, in terms of being worried, I don't think India ever had a plethora of friends. So when you are very successful, it's not that anybody is going to give you a free lunch. We'll have to fight inch by inch by inch. It's not easy. When China grew from 2000 to about 2021 at a very fast clip, there was no China in the room. So the biggest mistake the West did was letting China into WTO. And then wanting to buy the goods at the cheapest rate at the hollowing out of their economy. So what Trump is doing is not bad for America. It's not possible today. There is nobody who will be able to do textiles. Even if you spin yarn, you will not be able to make garments. You will not be able to do, because the Chinese manufacturer can do it at less than $10 with everything embellished. You will not be able to do it. You can't make furniture now. You have IBM left electronics. They sold their laptop business, PC business to Lenovo, who has made a success of it. You can't do that also. So you have to go higher in the innovation bracket. What Trump is trying is what probably they should have done in the 1990s. Can you imagine Thyssen, which ThyssenKrupp has managed to survive both the world wars in Europe and kept making steel, and now Jindal might be buying out the steel works of Thyssen. Wow. A German steel maker, which is the gold-plated standard for industrialization, is being bought by an Indian company. We saw that by Mr. Mittal in the morning. British Telecom is now practically owned by Bharti Airtel. 25% of British Telecom is Bharti Airtel. So what happens is, at this inflection point of 4 trillion, we have seen that with Japan. I'm old enough to have seen that, Ronald Reagan actually breaking American cars in public because they thought US hit 4 trillion in 85, Japan hits in 93, and then Japan stalls. They really thought Japan was going to eat their lunch. So it became anti-Japanese, everything.
Yeah.
Now it's become anti-Chinese. But moment Vietnam or Mexico started exporting the Chinese goods, Chinese put investments there, or they started stamping made in Vietnam, Trump happened. So Trump is not the catalyst. Trump is the product. Yeah. Will it change with Trump retiring after 3 years? I don't think so. We have to be aware of this. So whatever we win in this world will have to be despite China, fighting all the way, and nobody will give a free lunch to us. We will have to be so good at it while maintaining cordial relationships, which is a very difficult thing when you're successful. Indians were never noticed in the West because we go and assimilate. We work very hard. I remember when Rajiv Gandhi had gone to the US in 85, Ronald Reagan said, not one Indian is on the dole, unemployment benefit in India. Like we Punjabis are very proud people. You will never see a Punjabi beggar. You will never see a Sikh beggar. The community will help them, but they will never be that. Same thing about Indians used to be there, but last week in Australia, in UK, parts of US, we have seen rallies which are saying Indians are taking jobs. So it's starting. When you are 35 million strong and you get identified, we can't hide, we are Indians. We look very Indian by our looks itself, and we are very successful. Till now, what people are not seeing is the value we are adding to those economies. Without us, those economies will find it difficult to work, but we are taking the jobs, so we have this. So that will come. What is the way out? As Atmanirbhar as you can become. As much as you can grow here, as much as you can consume here, because that is within your control. And exports will not be the East Asian export or China export story. That won't happen now.
One deeper question. I'm glad that you brought me here. It always makes me wonder, before we wrap up, whenever I travel to China, I'm impressed like you would be impressed, the kind of manufacturing miracle they have achieved and the consequent benefits for the nation and the society. And they became independent 1 year after us. We made mistakes. We paid a heavy price. We are at the inflection point now, as we say, at the cusp, where we just cannot, as a society, make a mistake. What are the lessons we should be drawing from China?
And as I said, just to add, lesson from Japan, because 1993, 4 trillion, and 2025, 4 trillion.
A negative lesson from Japan and the positive one from China.
Yeah. So don't do that. Don't let that go. China, the positives, great work ethic, huge amount of patriotism. I used to have a lot of textile customers who were, doyens of the textiles. They would say if there is an Indian buyer representing a Walmart or anything, they will be doubly tough on us. And if there is a Chinese buyer, they will give such favorable terms to the Chinese manufacturer. Somehow, we don't have that national pride. That needs to be inculcated. So, and I find a lot of forums, we like to be argumentative, we like to pull down our own government, our own nation. That has to be inculcated, I think. Rising above caste, rising above regionalism. Other countries, you look at the Japanese, you will not find them criticizing Japan.
Absolutely.
We are the only nation which is very voluble and argumentative. So that is one thing. But overall, I would say what China got right, they started their reforms in 1979. We were similar GDP, yes. 200 billion each. 91, Dr. Manmohan Singh starts Indian reforms. They were about 1.5 times more than us. So they had reached about 500. We were still at that, tottering at 350. But the way they have gone, today they are 4 times our size. But what is to be learnt? China is debt-fueled growth. China is infrastructure, investment-fueled growth, export-fueled growth. If the exporter stops you, you stall. Debt, 3 years now, Chinese property has been in trouble. So what we have done is more holistic. We are consumption-based growth. So we are like a Japanese economy or a US economy. 60% of our GDP is domestic consumption.
Yes.
So come COVID, come anything, we are resilient.
Yeah.
Today, the Indian household has 30,000 tons of gold. That is, every 1,000 rupee increase in the price of gold is thousands of crores of net worth added. And we are buying 700 tons
every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
So we have sent out our dollars. Dollar has debased, but we have bought gold. That is, the entire US has 8,000 tons. Fort Knox is rumored to be 8,000 tons.
Right.
We have 30,000 with Indian households. RBI has 800 only. That will go up. So Chinese lesson what not to do, what to do, and it will be our own growth path. You will not make another factory of the world like China did.
Absolutely.
We'll have to find a middle path. And I think the path is through domestic consumption, import substitution, keep your defense preparedness high, invest in education. In fact, the Indian government 2047 report, if you see, it's talking about Brazil. Agriculture, they learned on 54 crops from the 54 best countries in the world. And they launched an agricultural revolution. Korea was skill development, make a lot of engineers, train them and put them to work. Germany was apprentice system. 18 years, 19-year-olds join the company, study while working in the company and retire with the company. Japan, collective response. So we have all the models of the world. I'll tell you one small example of how self-critical we are. We had this Vikram chip. So everybody and his daddy started becoming a PhD in chips. कि हमने 30 nm या 60 nm का बनाया. You know the cars में you have chips even in your TV remote. 180 nm का chip चल जाता है उसमें. एक $1 का भी नहीं होता है. उसमें आपका बहुत profit बनता है. That 2 nm, 3 nm chip is needed for your phone, but there is no profit in it because all the big phone guys squeeze out. So first you make the 180, then you make the 60, then you make the 30. 2 or 3 you can get at cost from anybody else making. But we made such a tamasha that the government is making so much, and we don't have such good PR. We have very few Deepak Baglas. We should have explained this to people, that it's a way, how much you invest, you can get. Now, yesterday, Ashwini Vaishnav announced that ARM will make 2 nm chips.
Yes.
India में भी बन जाएगा. But उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. आपको जितना computing power चाहिए for your washing machine, fridges, all that, वो हम बनाना शुरू कर दिए. And that was billions of dollars of imports we were paying.
Right.
Petrol we are paying so much, 128 billion of crude oil. Solar is our petchem. And government has started this rooftop. How successful? Farmers were using diesel and groundwater had gone down. All are now getting solar pumps.
Yes.
Imagine the kind of things. China has done it. India is just starting. Ethanol, that 20%. Big lobby against Gadkari, saying our engines. Oh, US has been doing ethanol for 30 years. Brazil has been doing. But the lobby comes in and says it will destroy the engines. You're not seeing 25 billion a year you are saving, and that's going in the farmer's pocket. These are the silent revolutions. I think PR could be better. Or Indian nationalists should understand that better, explain better.
Right. You know, I am always amazed, Mr. Bagga, with the kind of clarity that you speak and the condensation of complex ideas that you bring in. You know, from coffee can investing to the most complex economic phenomenon, from Germany to Japan to China. And I hope everyone here is enriched, as also, of course, our viewers watching. Youngsters, always remember what he said. You start early and you invest for the long term. And then, of course, you become rich, India becomes rich. Thank you so much, Mr. Bagga.